Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Thump, and today I'm going to share a story that's been on my heart for a long time. It's a story of love, family, and how sometimes the people closest to us can hurt us in the most unexpected ways. But it's also a story of redemption, of how one person, someone who I thought would never stand up for me, taught me the most valuable lesson about respect, boundaries, and love. It all started with the wedding plans. Like most brides, I was excited but overwhelmed. There were 1,000 things to plan, and I had the weight of making everything perfect on my shoulders. My fiancé, Michael, was amazing. He was supportive, always ready to help with the details, and he made sure I knew that he was there every step of the way. But then, there was my mother-in-law, Susan. Now, don't get me wrong. She's a wonderful person, and I knew going into this marriage that she was going to be an important part of our lives. But as the wedding day approached, she started to take over. At first, it was small things, suggestions about the color scheme or the food. But then it got worse. She would call me, sometimes 3 times a day, asking about the guest list or the venue, or telling me her opinions on the ceremony. At first I thought, okay, she's just excited. But then, the tone of her calls changed. She was frustrated with how I was handling things. She would undermine every decision I made, even when Michael and I had already agreed on something. The rehearsal dinner was set, and everything was ready. But my mother-in-law had another surprise for me. She invited all of her friends, some of whom I'd never met, to the dinner without asking me first. When I walked into the venue, I was horrified. There were extra people everywhere. People I didn't even recognize. I tried to keep it together, but I could feel the tears threatening to fall. I went to Michael and told him I was upset, and he assured me that we would talk to her. But before I knew it, my mother-in-law was there, pulling me aside. "Sweetie," she said, "I know you're stressed, but I've taken care of everything. You're welcome." It was as though she didn't see how her actions had made me feel invisible, how she had steamrolled over my wishes and taken the day that was supposed to be mine and made it about her and her plans. I snapped. "Susan," I said, "I appreciate your help, but this is my wedding. You've changed everything without asking me. I didn't want all these people here. I didn't want the menu to change. I didn't want anything to feel like this." I had to walk away. I needed space, and I was heartbroken. I wanted the wedding to be a joyful occasion, but instead, I felt like it was slipping away from me. I wanted to run. I didn't know what to do. But then, Michael came to me, and that's when the real lesson began. Michael found me outside, sitting by myself, feeling completely lost. He sat down next to me and looked at me, really looked at me like he hadn't before. "Tell me what's going on," he said softly. I spilled everything. I told him about how his mom had overstepped, how she was ruining the wedding, and how I felt like I couldn't speak up without causing a problem. I felt completely helpless. He listened quietly, then finally spoke. "You've been trying to keep the peace, but this isn't just my mom's wedding, or your wedding, this is our wedding. And I love you enough to fight for you." It was like a light bulb went off in my head. Michael wasn't just going to stand by and watch me be pushed aside. He wasn't going to let his mother ruin what we had worked so hard for. We walked back into the venue together, and he called his mom over. In front of me, he told her, firmly but respectfully, "Mom, I love you, but I won't let you treat bride's name this way. She has every right to be heard and to make decisions about this wedding. You need to respect that." It was the first time I saw my husband step up for me like that. He didn't choose his mom over me. He chose us, and that made all the difference. From that moment on, things shifted. My mother-in-law was quiet for a few days, but eventually, she came to me with an apology. It wasn't perfect, but it was heartfelt, and she agreed to take a step back, to let me handle things as I saw fit. The wedding turned out beautifully, exactly as I had imagined. And while it wasn't without some bumps along the way, it was a day that Michael and I will always cherish. What I learned that day, through the tears, the stress, and the confrontation, was that love doesn't mean you always have to compromise. It's about standing up for each other and setting boundaries, even with the people we care about the most. I didn't expect my mother-in-law to learn this lesson, but I certainly didn't expect it to be Michael who would teach it to me. That's it for today's episode. If you've ever faced a similar situation, I hope this story helps you find the strength to speak up and take control of your own happiness. Thanks for listening, and remember, love means respecting each other's voices, no matter who they come from.